There's something about pregnancy that amplifies your instincts. Your body grows more sensitive, more attuned. You smell things stronger, sense tension quicker, and when someone lies to you, you feel it under your skin like static. I felt it in Ryan long before I knew what it was. We had been married for 3 years. A calm, steady love. No grand drama. No chaos. Just a safe harbor until Amy stormed in like a hurricane. My sister. She was the kind of woman who could charm snakes. Tall, stylish, and always the center of attention, whether she earned it or not. Amy walked into every room like it owed her applause. And for most of our lives, my parents clapped for her while I stood backstage holding the curtains. I didn't mind. I had a good life. A job I loved, a husband who supported me, and a miracle growing inside me. Until things shifted. It started small. A short reply from Ryan when I showed him baby name options. The slight delay when I asked him to feel the baby's kick. He stopped attending doctor's appointments. At first, I blamed stress. Work. Exhaustion. Then one night, I walked into our living room and saw him staring blankly at his phone. He didn't notice me. His face had gone pale. His brows furrowed like he'd read something that punched him in the gut. "Ryan?" I asked. He locked the screen too quickly. "Yeah? What happened?" "Nothing. Just work." He kissed my cheek and went to bed early. But I didn't sleep. Something felt off. He wasn't angry, he wasn't cruel, he was conflicted. And it wasn't long before the truth surfaced. The next morning, I found him in the kitchen. Quiet. Distant. Then he asked me, "Simone, have you been talking to your ex?" My world stopped. "What?" He looked at me, his eyes stormy. "Did you tell him that this baby might be his?" I felt the breath leave my lungs. "What the hell are you talking about?" He handed me his phone. A screenshot of a chat. It was me, my name, my photo chatting with Peter, my ex from college. The texts were intimate. Emotional. Terrifying. There were even pictures, morphed images of me with Peter in places I had never been to. I stared at the screen as my knees buckled slightly. "I didn't write this," I whispered. "This isn't me." He said nothing. He just stared, unsure of what to believe. And in that moment, something in me snapped. Not because I feared losing my marriage, but because I knew exactly who had done this. And she had just crossed a line she'd never recover from. Amy always had a way of inserting herself into other people's lives like she belonged there. She'd flirt with your friends, charm your boss, take over your birthday party, and somehow make it about her. It used to bother me, but I never imagined she'd go this far. She didn't approve of Ryan from the beginning. "Too grounded," she said once. "Too boring for someone like you." Someone like me? What she meant was, too stable. Too unshakable. Too unlike the drama she thrived on. Amy had her own string of failed jobs and toxic relationships. She once convinced my cousin to put $30,000 into a business idea that vanished overnight. She had charm but no integrity, and until now, her greatest crime was being exhausting. But this was war. I started investigating quietly. I contacted Peter, my ex. We hadn't spoken in years. He was stunned. "What? No. I haven't even heard your voice since 2018. I asked him to send proof. He did. Email records, call logs. Nothing between us. Nothing to even remotely suggest the chat was real. Next, I contacted my friend, Alex, a cybersecurity expert. I forwarded him the fake chat screenshots. His message came back a day later. "Simone, these are edited. The metadata shows image manipulation. The timestamps don't match." And the sender IP address? It's from your city. Not a messaging app server. This was made to look like a real chat, but it's fabricated. And the biggest bombshell? The email ID that created the fake chat backup had a recovery phone number. I asked Alex to cross-check it. He did. It was registered under Amy's name. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not surprised. Just disappointed. Numb. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. This was attempted character assassination. She was trying to destroy my marriage. Shake Ryan's trust. Question the legitimacy of my unborn child. But it wasn't about me. No. This was about control. Amy had always been jealous of what I built. I had a husband who didn't cheat. A home that was peaceful. A pregnancy that was celebrated. And that burned her because she had none of it. And now, she wanted to watch it all collapse. But I wasn't going to let her. Because what I uncovered next made everything else look like child's play. The baby shower was supposed to be a celebration. Balloons. Pink and gold streamers. Laughter. The kind of joy that floated through generations and wove a baby into the fabric of the family before it even took its first breath. But now? Now it would be the reckoning. I wasn't going to shout. I wasn't going to expose Amy with screaming matches or public accusations. She lived off chaos, manipulating emotions like strings on a puppet. No. I was going to use her own mask against her. Gracefully. Publicly. Permanently. The plan began with two parallel missions. I needed airtight proof. Not just of the fake chats and doctored photos, but of Amy's financial scams too. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. My uncle had mentioned once casually over dinner that Amy had convinced him to invest in her ethical beauty line. The pitch was all charm, cruelty-free, organic, handcrafted. He gave her $10,000. He never heard back. My cousin Mitali had invested in another of Amy's schemes. A luxury travel curation app that mysteriously died 2 months after launch. Each person thought they were the only one duped until I started asking questions and stitching the truth together. Some were embarrassed. Some were furious. A few were devastated. My Aunt Sushila, a widow living off her savings, had given Amy money meant for her cataract surgery. It was disgusting. So I called my cousin Sam, who works as a financial fraud lawyer. I sent him everything: account transfers, fake invoices, screenshots of WhatsApp pitches. "This is enough to build a solid fraud case," he said. "You could put her behind bars with this." But I wasn't ready to involve the police yet. First, she needed to be exposed. And what better stage than the one she expected to be adored on? I called my decorator and told her I wanted a slideshow set up for the baby shower. Just something sweet. I lied. Maybe some baby bump pictures. Childhood memories. Love letters from Ryan. She agreed. I sent her the safe version of the slideshow. And then I made a second version. The real one. A few friends and cousins were let in on it. Especially the ones who had been burned by Amy's schemes. "I don't want her screamed at," I told them. "Just let the truth speak louder than her excuses." They nodded. I finalized the guest list, making sure all the family members she scammed were there. My mom asked if Amy should be invited. I said, of course. And I smiled. Let her walk into her own trap thinking it's a celebration. Let her toast my baby while her lies unravel behind her. I was done being the quiet sister. Now, I was the storm. The day arrived like a calm before a hurricane. The house looked like a dream. Soft gold drapes. A dessert table with welcome little one in pink fondant. Smiling faces. Music playing. Guests dressed in pastels. Amy showed up an hour late, of course. dressed in a gown far too expensive for someone with no stable income. She carried a gift bag and fake smiles like they were part of her wardrobe. She kissed cheeks, tossed compliments like confetti, hugged me and said, "You look so beautiful, sis." I looked her in the eye and replied, "You too." Must be exhausting, though. She laughed, confused. "Exhausting?" she asked. I just smiled. "Being you." She blinked, tilted her head, but then moved on to charm the next guest. The food was served. The games played. And then came the speech portion. My mother stood to say a few words. Then Ryan. Then I stood up. "Thank you all for being here," I began. Pregnancy is a delicate thing. It tests your body, your mind, and your relationships. But sometimes, it also reveals truth. I saw her shoulders stiffen. "Today," I continued, "I want to not only celebrate this child but honor the strength that's been born inside me too. Because of betrayal." Gasps. Nervous shifting. I clicked the remote. And the slideshow began. First, my ultrasound pictures. Then, a few couple photos of Ryan and me. Then, it hit. Side-by-side screenshots, the fake chat messages, the metadata reports, the IP addresses, the forgery analysis, Amy's name on the recovery email. The same chat screenshots matched with source files showing Photoshop edits. "She tried to convince my husband that this child wasn't his," I said, voice steady. "She created fake evidence. And almost succeeded." Amy stood. "That's a lie. You're faking this too." I raised a hand. "I'm not done." Then came part 2. Screenshots of her fraud schemes. Audio of her pitching fake startups. Bank statements. Account numbers. Testimonies from close relatives. Cousin Sam stepped forward. "As of today, 3 members of this family have filed formal complaints. More are expected to follow." People began standing, shouting, asking questions. Amy panicked. "You're framing me. She's making this up. You all are just jealous of me." "Of what?" I asked. "Of being a parasite who steals from her own blood?" Tears welled in her eyes. But no one rushed to console her. For once, no one believed her sob story. Even my mother, who had always protected her, looked like she didn't recognize the daughter in front of her. Amy ran out, face burning red, heels clacking against the marble. She left her gift behind. I didn't open it. I had already received the greatest gift that day, truth. In the days following the baby shower, the silence from Amy was deafening. No screaming phone calls. No crocodile tear messages. Just nothing. Like she'd vanished. But the aftermath? That roared like a storm. Calls came flooding in from family members, one after another. Uncle said, "I'm contacting my lawyer. She used my retirement money." Aunt said, "She swore on her dead father's name." I feel like a fool. My cousin joined. She blocked me after I asked for updates. I trusted her like a sister. It wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated emotional theft. She had exploited not just their wallets but their love. Some wanted apologies. Others wanted revenge. 3 family members had already filed formal police complaints. Sam helped them draft every document, making sure it was airtight. Amy's scheme, some under fake names, others masked as startups, began unraveling like yarn. But while the family turned against her, Ryan and I were healing. He came home that night after the shower, not just with guilt but clarity. "I'm sorry," he said. "I let my doubt get louder than your truth." I looked at him. Tired. Emotional. But stronger. I'm not the one who needs an apology, I said. Our child is. He nodded, eyes full of pain. Then I'll prove it, not just say it. And he did. He reinstated trust by action. Attended every appointment. Took over house chores. Sat by my side and held my hand when I cried, not out of sadness, but out of release. Amy had tried to infect my home with poison. But in doing so, she purified it. The next Sunday, the family gathered at my uncle's house. An emergency meeting, not for reconciliation, but for confrontation. I was 7 months pregnant, but I went. I needed to see it through. Close the wound. Not for revenge, but for closure. Amy arrived last, wearing sunglasses indoors and her usual faux confidence like perfume. She walked in like a victim who expected to be rescued. No one stood. No one clapped. No one offered a chair. Uncle stood up. We've all heard Simone's truth. We've seen the evidence. Now, we want to hear from you. Did you or did you not forge those chats and steal money from us? Amy scoffed. You're trusting her over me? You forged texts accusing a pregnant woman of cheating, Aunt Sushila said sharply. Why would we trust you now? Still, she tried to spin it. It was a prank gone wrong. The chats weren't serious. And the money, I was going to pay it back. I just needed time. 5 years and 12 vanished investments? Sam cut in. Time ran out a long time ago. She broke, then cracked like cheap glass. It's always been Simone this, Simone that. The golden daughter. I just wanted to level the field. You wanted to ruin her life, my mother said softly. And for the first time, there were no excuses left. No gaslighting. No sob stories that could fill the silence. My grandmother stood up and said the words none of us expected. You're not welcome in our family functions anymore, Amy. We won't stop you from living your life. But you're no longer part of ours. My mother looked like she aged 10 years. You made your choices, she said. Now live with them. Amy's mouth opened, but no words came. Only tears. Real ones this time. But too late. She left without another word, no swan song, no drama. Just the soft sound of a door closing on the person she chose to become. Weeks passed since the family tribunal, but the storm was far from over. The police had officially opened a fraud investigation against Amy, thanks to the detailed complaints filed by the relatives. Sam, now acting as the family's legal counsel, coordinated every step. I stayed out of the limelight. The baby was growing inside me, and every kick reminded me of what truly mattered. Amy's name circulated less in polite conversation, but in the courts, her troubles multiplied. The fraud schemes unraveled as banks froze her accounts, and financial institutions began audits. Creditors came forward. Old promises unraveled like threadbare fabric. I never gloated. I didn't need to. The most satisfying moments were when the law took its course. One afternoon, Sam called me with the update: she's been summoned to court. If the evidence holds, she could face jail time up to 5 years and hefty fines. I closed my eyes and whispered a quiet prayer for my child, for the family, and even for Amy, despite everything. Because forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing peace. The court date arrived when I was 8 months pregnant. Ryan and I sat quietly in the courtroom as Amy was called to the stand. She looked smaller than I remembered. No glamour, no smirk, only a weary, frightened woman facing the consequences of her choices. The judge laid out the charges. The evidence was overwhelming. Amy's defense crumbled under the weight of proof, and the judge ruled that she would be remanded until trial. As she was escorted out, I caught a brief glance between her and me. No hatred in my eyes. Only resolve. I'm not the victim anymore. I am a mother. A wife. A woman who survived the storm and found her calm. Later that evening, back home, Ryan held my hand and said, "We're going to be okay. We have everything now, the truth, the family, and our baby." I smiled, tears filling my eyes. "Yes," I whispered. "And we're stronger than ever. Because life isn't just about surviving betrayal. It's about rising above it."